Is 5 Live Breakfast.
It's 11 minutes past 6. President Obama says the approval of his plan to train and arm moderate Syrian rebels to tackle Islamic State militants is an important step forward. The US House of Representatives backed the proposals last night. They'll now be passed to the Senate. Let's speak to the Professor of Political Science at the University of Southern California, Peter Mathews. Good morning.
Good morning. Actually, I'm at Cypress College in Southern California. How are you doing?
Beg your pardon. Yeah, I'm not doing too badly at all, thanks. This is interesting now. President Obama has a bit of political weight behind his plan, doesn't he?
Yes, he does, because the U.S. House has voted bipartisan fashion, so Democrats and Republicans, the majority of each, voted to go ahead and authorize aid Syrian rebels in its fight against ISIS. The president has some kind of a moral sort of diplomatic support right now in this case.
How important is that for him personally?
It was extremely important. If he had lost that vote, it would have been something like, well, this president's just not able to lead the country. As it is, many Americans feel that the country's on the wrong track in many ways, but they do support him on airstrikes in Syria and to support training of these rebels, because 79% of Americans, 79% say ISIS is a threat to the United States, and 57% say President Obama is not being tough enough in dealing with ISIS. So it would have been a very big tragic situation for him if he hadn't voted.
Do we know who these moderate rebels are? How many there are of them? How they're going to get to them? Whether they're going to be able to actually take the fight to IS?
We have an idea that they're actually, many of them came from the Free Syrian, they call themselves the Free Syrian Army. Some of them were defectors from the Assad regime army, and there are several thousands. And we're going to have to really take this fight, because ISIS is an incredible opponent. I mean, as you see the brutality of what they showed, the dramatic beheadings of people, which are horrendous. It means these ISIS folks have at least 15 to 20,000 fighters, ISIS, and they're controlling 1/3 of Iraq and Syria at this point. And they control Mosul, a very big city where they got a lot of money from the banks there when they took over the city, and they also got oil, and they're selling oil to anyone who'll buy it. And they also captured lots of American arms when the Iraqi army gave up and ran away, basically. So they're very well armed, they're brutal, and they're out to set up what they call a caliphate. A caliphate, this would be an Islamic state with their type of law, very, very fundamentalist law, which would be very bad for the whole stability of the region, actually. And a lot of the countries are trying to unite against them. Of course, President Obama is trying to build a coalition in that manner.
If they are planning to train these militia armies, does that not necessarily mean then that they will have to have troops somewhere on the ground with them?
Well, yes, ultimately, and what they're saying is they're going to train them in Saudi Arabia, and Qatar and Saudi Arabia are funding the training. So American troops might be on the ground, but in other countries nearby, not in Iraq or Syria, because President Obama pledged not to send American ground forces to Syria, which is also going to be problematic, because when this kind of a foe, you have to be on the ground. Air bombing is not enough. And I'm suggesting that's the best way to go. I think the total terrible mistake was made back in 2003 when President Bush decided to invade Iraq for no reason whatsoever and destabilize the whole regime, basically, the whole region, I should say. And so that was the original problem. And now President Obama is stuck with having to do something about this horrendous threat right now. So they're going to have to be very careful about where these troops go. Americans don't want troops. They're not going to use airstrikes, but that just may not be enough. And we're in a horrible condition right now, thanks to very, very unwise policy back in 2003.
Well, we could have a whole other discussion and argument about that one, couldn't we? I'm sure. Thank you for your time today. Professor of Political Science at Cypress College in Southern California. That's Peter Mathews. It's 6:15.